A very good question. People always keep asking me that, the night before the prelims, we're lying on the bed and our eyes are open, we're not getting sleep. The only thing that causes anxiety is no work, right? So, no work, delayed work, and going by the old, and the most important principle of economics, that work always expands to fill the time allotted.
Namaste and welcome to the 55th episode of UPSC Prep Decoded, a podcast brought to you by Abhyankar's IAS so that you can study on the go. I'm Khushi Bola, I'm your host for today, and we're in conversation with Mr. Ashay Abhyankar. A very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thanks, Khushi.
Sir, we're calling our topic for today Navigating the Front Door, since we're deep into the months approaching the prelims. So my first question for you would be, so for the students who are preparing, what should be our ideal focus right now?
Right. I will just give you 5 basic things, right? First thing is discipline. Plan your day. Ensure that in the first part of your day, if you're a non-working individual, you're able to pick up and master time over current affairs. Subsequently, shift gears to the general studies topic. Don't pick up more than 2 topics per week in terms of 2 subjects. So you can either do a polity and history together, or economy and environment together, or a science and tech and certain other miscellaneous topics together. So you're only going to be picking up 2 subjects per week, right? In addition to that, you have to focus on revision. This is one thing which people completely overlook. They always believe that once they've learned it or memorized it or gone through it, the work is done. There is a difference between reading content and memorizing it. Please identify this difference very, very clearly and focus at least 2 to 3 hours on a daily basis on ensuring that you are able to push your content through by continuously rereading and revising it. I would say re-revision because it increases your surety of navigating the options related to the questions. Many a times in the prelims, you would have people walk out of the exam and say that there were 20 questions and out of these 20, I knew 2 options, but I was slightly clueless about the other 2. Now, these other 2 you're clueless about, not because you don't know information about them. It's purely because you haven't memorized enough, you've not been able to interlink enough. And I believe the more the number of revisions, the greater is going to be your accuracy in minimizing or reducing your negatives. Like they always say, practice makes perfect. I think that's the good adage to go ahead with.
Absolutely, sir. So, during the span of our preparations, lots of students go through bouts of uncertainty, and with that comes anxiety. So, how does one calm themselves down and bring back our focus?
A very good question. People always keep asking me that, the night before the prelims, we're lying on the bed and our eyes are open, we're not getting sleep. The only thing that causes anxiety is no work, right? So, no work, delayed work, and going by the old, and the most important principle of economics, that work always expands to fill the time allotted. So you first, when the countdown starts, you think you have 6 months, and then you realize you're down to counting weeks, and then you have 12 weeks, and then you say there's 2 weeks, and then there's 1 week, and then you're trying to crunch, revise, and things like that. It doesn't happen. So I believe that here, don't get after the quantity purely because you have adequate time. Like for example, 2 months before the exam is 8 full weeks. You have adequate time. Get after the quality, get after understanding whatever you're doing, pick up smaller bits of information and just piece them together. Because in this exam, there is a lot of focus on saying that, I must read everything. You can't read everything. You will never be finished. Even on the day of the exam, when you're sitting in the examination hall, you're never going to be finished. Because that is the magnitude of this exam in terms of the diversity of its syllabus. Pick up whatever you can best do. Limit your reading sources to basic NCERTs and maybe 1 or 2 newspapers. That's more than adequate.
So, before concluding, on the day of the exam, what should be a few points that we keep in mind before entering the exam hall?
Realize one very important thing, that you are never ever going to know all the 100 questions. Right? So, in fact, if you don't know 30, I think you're in a happy space. Right? Because you've minimized negatives and you've reduced your anxiety. Reread the question couple of times over. So I believe that in the first hour in your general studies paper, the paper 1, you should be focusing on not more than solving 35 questions in the first hour. Take it easy. Every person who is prepared for this exam will definitely cross 35 right. You have to go in with that conviction. let alone the next 1 hour, start picking and choosing questions. You will realize that if you are playing it easy and you're keeping your cool intact, you should definitely navigate another 15 questions based on information that you know, a basic idea of common sense, and also of just eliminating the wrong options purely out of the statements that have been given in the particular question. Don't be in a hurry to mark the OMR sheet. Whenever you are marking OMR sheets, ensure that you are marking only 10 questions at a time. Remember one thing, the marking cannot be undone. Another mistake that a lot of people do is that they read the question but they don't read the statement following it. So they mistake not false for false, or not true for true, incorrect for a correct. Circle these words, circle them. Read the question, reread it, read the options. You are bound to succeed. This is only a qualifying exam. Don't put yourself under pressure. There is no first or second or 109th in the prelims. There is a cutoff. The cutoff is very, very rational in the number of people the cutoff being available for people. It's generally between 100 to 105 marks. So you're perfectly fine. Just go ahead with it and finish it off.
Thank you so much, sir. This interaction has been really helpful. If you like this video, do like, share and subscribe. Your feedbacks and suggestions are always welcome. You can comment them down below or contact us through info@abhyankarias.com. Show us some love on our Instagram, Twitter and Facebook handles that go by the name Abhyankars IAS. Keep listening and stay tuned for more.